To More Coffee, More Bullshit. I'm your host, Obat from Ageless Galaxy. We'll be talking about professional ethics here in Jakarta, as we call it, Don't Pitch Me Bitch. Today we have a variety of people from the industries, from various industries here in Jakarta. Today we're actually missing two, but we'll go ahead. Just want to let you guys know, thank you for coming out to support Common Grounds' fourth anniversary. Hey, there's Nando right here. All right, so let me introduce the people that will be speaking about professional ethics here in Jakarta. First off, we have Eric Wijaya, partner and founder of Thinking Room. Give a round of applause, guys. Woo, yeah. Up next, we have Mikhail Murdad from Biko Group, partner and founder. Next up, we have Hadi Ismanto, founder of Manual Jakarta. Give it a round of applause. We have Fernando Sindhu, partner and chef of Benedict. Nick, where are you at? We have Nick Lim, a partner and bartender of Rock, Paper, Scissors. Give it a round of applause. Ricky Basmilla, founder of Dore by Litau. That's you right there. And then we have Claudia Sastra Wijaya, founder of Imaku Indonesia. All right, to moderate us for tonight's talk on professional ethics here in Jakarta, we have Alvin Chitrawiryo of Alvin Tea. So basically tonight's talk will be discussing about, as you know, like what does it mean about to be a professional in your workspace? How do you develop it if there's any gaps between what's going on outside of Indonesia and here in Indonesia as well? And let me just let Alvin basically elaborate on what's going to go down. Just remember, it's a chillax talk. Be informal, don't worry about it, speak your mind. And yeah, have fun. All right, Alvin.
Thanks, Abed. So welcome guys. This is here's a rule of the game, basically. So the whole idea from this panel discussion is actually for us to have a proper discussion. We don't hold any arguments back. If somebody disagrees, somebody has an opinion, somebody has any thoughts, somebody wants to argue and somebody wants to fight over things, feel free. This is a table. Apa namanya? Don't be nervous, just relax. Apa namanya? This topic is a very sensitive and important topic. We're all in this panel. We all happen to be business owners, and we've been having different kinds of struggles and challenges, especially during this era where technology comes in and generation switches to millennial and Gen Z, and apa namanya, ini ada banyak banget problem and challenges, especially in the employment and human resources. And this is where ethics atau professionalism tuh kadang-kadang dipertanyakan, or we need to discuss about it, or maybe there's a solution that we can now come up with to make our lives easier and then to make everyone happier, and at the same time to make our business thrive. So just to kickstart the conversation, sebenarnya in terms of human resources, ini panelistnya kan comes from a different background ya, dari ada graphic design agency, F&B, hospitality. Sebenarnya what is the biggest problem sih sekarang kalau misalnya apa namanya running your business in terms of human resources? Mungkin Eric, you wanna start?
In terms of human resource, sebenarnya strugglingnya itu dari dulu nih, dari because our main core bisnis tuh lebih ke sumber daya manusia ya, karena kita bergerak di bidang servis pasti motornya itu anak-anak manusia gitu. Itu sampai sekarang sih masih struggling, but gimana cara maintain, cara survive itu lebih ke we and I personally created a culture di dalam office itu biar biar bisa ngikutin visi gue juga gitu loh, visi perusahaan, visi ownernya gitu. But strugglingnya memang along the time seiring waktu gitu banyak akhirnya competition di antara si anak-anak yang generasi penerus ini nih pada mau cepet sukses gitu, mau cepet berhasil lah gitu. Jadi secara perputaran employee sekarang tuh mulai lumayan cepet nih dibandingin dulu tuh kayak 3 years minimum gitu di tempat gue. Cuma sekarang even ada yang less than a year gitu yang ini. Cuma kita bisa dibilang sih masih nggak terlalu susah untuk cari source sebenarnya, karena itu tadi karena culture, karena vision, dan mungkin lot of exciting project juga gitu yang akan kita kasih gitu.
Yeah, I think it touches on a very good subject. Karena I think it's really interesting in terms of the new workforce or talent that's coming into the industry lately. Karena mungkin during our parents' generation was a different mentality, you know, like people would work really hard and be very loyal to either their company or their job, and just keep doing that and build through a lot of hard work and grit, you know what I mean? Just keep grinding on what they do. While, which is really interesting. And even during my generation, like going to college, like me and my friends, like it's either go to business school or you go to engineering school, or mostly during my time was like, you know, the cool thing was like finance and like, what is it, M&A, you know, like investment banking, totally, right? Yeah, that was the thing back in the day, right? Yeah, exactly, money, right? But it's funny, it's weird because in this new generation of workforce, kaya, you have people like going to school for like creative subjects, arts, you do. Like back in my day, like that would be like very different, very odd. You would be really out there, right? And I know you have stories about this too, right? Like, you know, you just don't send your kid out to, you know, to go to art schools. Like, oh, mau jadi apa ntar gitu, ya kan? Gitu. Jadi you have a lot more, the new generation, you know, there's so much talent coming out of great education and great schools that focus more on like the creative side and the creative art, gitu. So it's actually really good, you know. There's like a bigger appreciation for specialty or crafts sort of professions, gitu. Whether it's culinary, whether it's design, whether it's technology. So, you know, we've got people who want to learn about, say, like bartending, you know what I mean? It's the same as us, like in the coffee sort of industry, like only recently has barista been ever mentioned as like a job that people would consider taking, right? So you know, I do all of our hiring and our interviewing myself. So it's not because like I want to particularly, but it's because I want to know what's out there and to try to figure out the mentality of this new generation. Like, are they really committed to enter and really learn about the profession, or do they just want to come in and look cool, you know, while making latte art on a 5-ounce cup, right? Or look smart because they know how to drip a coffee, right? Because most of that is an illusion, right? Like, yes, you'll get there. We can teach you how to do it, but you have to learn a lot of the parts to it gitu. So what we do is, you know, when we take somebody who's brand new, or even people who've had coffee experience, we put them through a program, right? And our program is, you know, you train 5-6 days a week at the roastery intensive. Then once you get at the shop, like you spend about 4 to 6 weeks at the floor serving tables, serving people, because that's essentially what you're doing. And you're working together with the front of house team to deliver product to your customer and service to your customer. And you have to be able to know what they do and do it well to be able to lead them one day. So that's sort of our program to teaching the new generation on, you know, where to start, you know. And then, you know, always the first thing, one of the first things I always ask them as well, you know, when they come in, do you know what a grease trap is? You know, like industry people know what a grease trap is, you know. It's that barrier between the drain and your sink or your waste and everything. It's the most disgusting thing in the kitchen, or the bar, but you have to clean it, you know. Because if you don't know what that is, that's, you know, you have to clean that. That's your job, and you have to have that experience of cleaning it before, you know what I mean? And you know, my strategy is just to prepare them for the worst. You know, are you up for this? Yeah. You know, a lot of times you have people who expect, like, wow, you know, it's so cool, right? But you know, there are other parts of the job which you don't see on Instagram, which you don't see on Facebook about, you know, really starting from the bottom at your craft and your profession. And I mean, the main reason why I have so much respect for chefs is because, you know, they're not even in the front, they're in the back. You know, you don't see them, you know, but they're making this, you know, whatever you're putting inside of your body and trying to make it like a work of art or really enjoy it and have it really been tasty, but they almost get no credit, you know, because they're behind, you know, and they're in a cramped, small space. It's hot, you know, and they just don't get any, like acknowledgement. But baristas, like, they're all up in the front, you know, they're like meeting customers, they're in the limelight, right? You can see them pour fancy aprons, right? Yeah, so like I tell this to my baristas all the time. I ranted once on Instagram, like, hey man, you guys aren't shit, you know. Like, you see the guys in the kitchen, those guys are the ones that are doing this shit day in and out, and they don't get any credit whatsoever, you know what I mean? So if I ask you to clean a grease trap, you're gonna clean a fucking grease trap, you know what I mean? You're gonna wash dishes, you're gonna dry dishes, you know. So that's sort of a little insight onto the F&B industry, and I think Chef Nando has, you know, I've talked to him a lot of times about this, and I think he's got some great insight. Chef?
All right, thanks. This is, I think it's very tricky, talking about kitchen and labor and everything. Jadi, the question is quite interesting. How do you manage the labor trend and stuff? To be honest, now is udah nggak bisa sih menurut gua. I think it's so difficult to manage. Yang paling susah menurut gua adalah loyalty. And kayak Asen tadi bilang, kayak if you like barista, you gotta train them and stuff. I think it's the same. It's basically the same thing. And I think it's not true that people are not now in the kitchen. You don't get that much, you know, shine anymore. I think it's a little bit changing because the open kitchen concept. You know, I have a nice apron, so I like to look good too. But I want to look as good as Michael too. Like, you know, he looks good all the time. So, but you know, apart from that, I think the most important thing is the talent. Like tadi Aso ngomong when the talents coming. I believe, man, the talents are great. You know, people are so talented. They are so meticulous. They are very like creative. Tapi yang paling penting, yang udah lack menurut gua adalah the loyalty part. Itu yang udah nggak ada menurut gua sekarang. Apalagi sekarang di Jakarta. It's so difficult. Like you get these people, they come in. Oh yeah, where do you work? I work at John George, blah blah blah, for 2-3 months, and then they come back. So you want to work for us? Yeah, I work for you. And then they work for you, and then you give all whatever that you can try to give. And then suddenly 6 months later, they say that, yeah, I'm bounced, man. I'm doing something else. So I mean, this is the kind of thing that the nature that when I was in New York, it is never in my head. So kayak gue kerja 12 jam, I follow my chef in the morning at 7, I finish at 12 o'clock, I follow him for 3 months. After that, I didn't bounce. I stay with him for 2 years to learn more and become friends. And the only reason kenapa gue juga bounce dari dia, karena gue balik ke sini dan gue nggak diperpanjang visanya. Kalau nggak at the same time, mungkin gue masih sama dia karena I just went back to New York just recently, 2 weeks ago. And then I met him and we had a great talk and he said that, oh, you're so lucky that you went home, now you have all this restaurant. Tapi at the same time, I am lucky in the same way that gue bisa punya all this, tapi at the same time, I miss working that, the close-knit, the really like, it belongs to one group. And to be honest, now in Benedict, I don't have such a person. I have like 2-3 good sous chefs, but it's not something that I write every day. I work, I chill out and everything because it's so rare to find that. Nah, jadi buat gua, F&B people, if you find those people, make sure that you make them as a partner. That's number one, right? So make sure that you make them as a partner, and then if you really feel that they are contributing something to your to your department or whatever your business, keep those people. I think it's very important. Nah, buat gue juga sekarang challengingnya adalah before I trust a lot of people in terms of like my craft whatever. Yang ini yang menurut gue yang pelan-pelan gue sempet kayak udah nggak mau lagi trust buat saya. Tapi pelan-pelan gue harus give up karena again at the end of the day we always say that we are on the eat dog business. We need to support each other and the most importantnya adalah you mesti trust each other sih. Itu paling penting. Jadi again labor is an issue. It's a big issue I think. Kitchen I think it's worse than barista. For us it's like we have to train from A to Z and then 6 months later they can just disappear. Yeah.
Just to add to what he said, on the medium for loyalty, it is very hard to find loyalty. A lot of people, they whoever comes out of college, especially that come out of college, because we're so exposed to, through all this like technology and accessibility to information, people feel that they can just learn it overnight and then just go and start their own thing. But the experience counts. Like when you walk into I'm sure you feel this. You probably circulate on designers quite often. Like they come in, they give you this promise, they sell themselves so hard. When you put them to the test, they flake. So it's very hard to find loyalty. We experience that a lot. We've experienced a number of people. They come to us and then they're all about like, we love your brand, we want to be a part of this, we believe in this and that. All talk. But then they don't know we're testing them out. You know what I mean? Until you throw them the ball and then next thing you know it, they're gone. And then you can contact them, they're finished. And then there's people like us where we're like, wow, like we read it all along. And this, I think this has been one of the biggest struggles that we've been going through. I mean, we're lucky to have a solid team. Touchwood, our team has been super dope with like whatever we've been doing in terms of execution and all that. But like when it comes down to finding the new cadets that you can join in on your team, where you want to be able to expand, it's a bit hard nowadays because of accessibility and because of the whole idea of like, oh, I can do that on my own. No, you can't. It's not easy. Rome wasn't built in a day. Some motherfucker actually put all his hard work into making sure that the foundation was strong, right? So loyalty is such a hard thing to find these days, and I feel like every young sense of audience that is going out into doing their own thing is to be able to learn from like, the big dogs. Like I love his story that he still prefers to be in New York, but he's here because there was more, like you had a visa situation and whatnot. But just imagine if he was there, he'd be killing it right now, He would be known by all these famous chefs abroad, like, but I think it's interesting, and I think nowadays the younger generation should know how to have more respect to the game than just dipping in and out,
So I heard the differences between baby boomers and millennials is that baby boomers work to survive, but millennials work to create changes, basically. Now I want to ask Hadi. Hadi has been working with, let's say, the younger generation. Can you give us a bit of your personal observation? Kaya, what's the
Aspen has a different meaning of younger generation. I'm not that pervert, bro.
we all love kids. I mean, but
Not in that way. Right?
yeah, not in that way.
Oh, wait, Alvin, come on.
What's left, please?
Now, can you give us your personal observation in like today's human market? human resource, Mike?
To be honest, I think I would be able to say that I agree to a lot of points that were discussed earlier, especially on the points that it's hard to find loyalty nowadays. But from my side point of view, I think again I'm not trying to be arrogant atau boasting atau show off gimana ya, tapi kayak interestingly I'm quite happy and I'm quite proud to have a company that has such a low turnover rate. So we have been around for 4 years-ish now, tapi kayak standar average turnover rate kita tuh cuma 2,5 tahun, 3 tahun gitu. So people usually kayak 3 tahun, 3,5 tahun, it's either they get married and then they move to Sydney and then they move to Africa and then they quit. Lu jangan gitu Ustaz ya. Padahal dia balik lagi loh. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about kan. So yeah, you know. So no. Jangan gitu. Yeah, anyway, tapi I feel kayak right now the question is lebih kayak I think a lot of us we used to think ya, oh business ethics, professional ethics, and then we tend to think to look ya, kenapa sih kids nowadays, kids zaman now nggak punya ethics gitu. But I think the question that we need to ask ourselves is that since we are the older ones, we need to kayak introspeksi diri sendiri sih. Kayak as a boss gitu, as an owner, do we actually answer to their needs gitu. And maksudnya kayak, yeah, I mean, like Alvin said, baby boomers versus millennials, they have different priorities, they have different ways of looking at life. And if we want to menyamakan mereka dengan our generation, of course, ya kayak nggak matching gitu dan nggak ketemu dan mereka they don't get what they want to find di company kita gitu. So I think the interesting idea is that kayak I want to challenge maybe teman-teman sekalian, bapak bos dan ibu bos yang saya hormati. untuk lebih kayak basically kayak change the perspective gitu. Instead of kayak keep saying kayak aduh kenapa sih anak-anak sekarang tuh seperti ini, tapi lebih kayak mereka tuh butuh apa and how can our company grow tapi at the same time we serve their needs as well gitu. And I think eventually itu akan dapat gitu.
On that note, maksudnya can you share a little bit on based on your observation, maksudnya mestinya tuh sebenarnya kita tuh mestinya what should we cater sih gitu.
Kesannya gue kayak konsultan gitu, konsultan anak muda ya gitu. Gimana ya? I think what needs to be catered itu one of the most one of our policies that I think our kids like the most itu biasanya flexibility in time gitu. Jadi we have a very flexible working hour, which is only from 10 to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday gitu, and we have a very flexible off days. So we are not like this company yang kayak tahun lu cuma punya 7 jatah gitu. So basically can get as many off days as possible. And I even challenge them gitu, kalau misalnya kalian mau off days, don't ask me for permission gitu, tapi ask your team members. Karena if you go off for holiday, the ones that get the shit itu ya your team members gitu. Jadi you need to get their permission and not mine gitu. And of course after they get their permission then talk to me, things like that. So things like that. Terus kedua juga I think the growth process gitu. I think it's very interesting to see that the millennial generation nowadays they want to grow, they want to learn, tapi usually mereka nggak mau belajar satu hal aja gitu. They want to learn about a lot of things. They want to learn about misalnya if I'm a barista, I want to learn how to brew, yes, but I also want to learn how to run my own cafe. I want to learn how to market my cafe properly. I want to learn how to network properly, things like that. Yang seharusnya kita memberikan mereka platform untuk mereka bisa belajar banyak hal itu gitu. And I think those are quite challenging karena kita sendiri kita juga kerja gitu kan. Of course kayak kita nggak yang kayak shake legs, kayak you do your thing, you do A, you do B, you do C, we do our work juga gitu. But a lot of times kita nggak ingat aja gitu kalau misalnya these kids they have their own desire juga, they have their own future that they want to pursue juga, and we have to be able to cater that gitu. Karena they know that if we do cater to that, they will work their ass off for our company juga gitu. Karena it's gonna be a very mutual thing and it's obvious. Anything to add? Dok?
Bahasa Indonesia nggak apa-apa ya. Jadi bukan panelis, cuman dengan topiknya, dengan teman-teman ngobrol jadi pengen ikutan gitu. Sebenarnya udah disampaikan sama Mas Ari ya, tadi mirip sebenarnya, mirip yang dia sampaikan. Jadi saya termasuk generasi tua sebenarnya, bukan milenial. Ya tuan masih, tapi jadi kita hidup di era kita dengan segala perjuangan dan sebagainya gitu. Terus muncul generasi milenial. Yang kita lupa, generasi milenial itu lahir dari kita. Dari bayi yang mereka lihat kita. Terus mereka tumbuh, yang ngajarin kita juga. Pas mereka udah jadi orang, kita komplain sama mereka. Mereka nggak mungkin lahir bentuknya udah begitu. Jadi saya mikir, apa yang salah dari saya ya gitu. Satu. Kedua, generasi sekarang itu memang percaya dirinya tuh tinggi sekali. Kalau orang yang punya percaya diri, dia butuh apa? Butuh panggung. Kita kontrol freak. Kamu ikut kata saya gitu. Katanya mental. Terus yang berikutnya visi. Kita mungkin nggak bisa digeneralisir kita ya, mungkin saya. Kita terbiasa menerima visi dari atas. Kita ada yang lebih superior dari kita dulu ya. Kalau kita nggak mungkin kita nggak punya kemampuan, kita kurang untuk mendeliver visi kita ke mereka. Jadi mereka nggak paham. Sebenarnya kita tuh mau apa sih? Kita mau apa? Jadi mereka bingung nih, bos gue tuh mau apa? Gue tau dia hebat, tapi dia maunya apa ya? Itu. Karena tidak merasa sevisi, mereka nggak ngikutin apa mau kita, nggak ngerti. Dan kerjaan kita cuma kayak ngomel. Jadi terus mesti bagaimana? Mungkin Mas Adi lebih ngerti. Cuman kalau yang akhirnya saya ngobrol dengan mereka. Jadi teman-teman saya banyak memang yang 15 tahun lebih muda. Mencoba mencari tahu kamu tuh maunya apa, pinginnya apa, dan tidak bisa menjudge dulu dari awal gitu. Jadi intinya yang pengen saya sampaikan, mereka itu lahir dan dibesarkan oleh kita. Itu. Jadi mungkin kita mesti lihat lagi ke diri kita, mungkin apa yang mereka lihat ya, kok sampai tumbuhnya seperti itu. Itu mungkin ada itu aja sih.
Alvin, gue nambahin dikit mungkin. Yang tadi Hadi bilang menurut gue hampir semuanya benar. Jadi gue bukan ada di salah, cuman gue menambahkan. Menurut gue selain yang tadi lu bilang masalah flexibility, of course I would say yang tadi lu bilang soal money pun juga sangat penting. Ya, money isn't everything, but everything needs money, so we all know. Right? Dan yang tadi Alvin bilang juga menurut gue itu sangat menarik. Generasi milenial sekarang maunya make changes. Jadi kalau gue biasanya selain ngasih flexibility, selain ngasih whatever they need, I try untuk ketika lo mau bikin changes, that means you have to be the decision maker. Jadi sometimes gue ngasih beberapa keputusan penting untuk mereka ambil. Jadi nggak semuanya harus melalui gue. Dan itu sangat berhubungan dengan yang tadi Alvin bilang, make changes. Dengan mereka ngambil keputusan itu, dengan mereka bisa merubah sesuatu, I think itu buat mereka juga ada culture untuk lebih pedenya, lebih ke pembelajarannya juga.
I've done probably like 500 or more interviews within 2 years of time. I love to meet people. What I felt is that I think it's not about people. I mean, I'm millennials. If you're talking about people around just graduate, I think they're not millennials. There's another whatever generation, Z, right? And I think it's everyone's different. So I just see it as, I think it's about the culture from the company. So it's not about generation. Everyone's different anyway. Like we're all sitting here, everyone have different types of character. The direction of the company might be different. My company has to sort of follow 9 to 5. So if you don't like it, you don't join our company. So I sort of maybe similar to Hadi in a way that we started to create certain culture. You just follow it, or you don't need to join us. So whenever I interview, yes, I have to sort of meet like 40, 50 people to find one. But it works out well for us at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like it's really true that right now loyalty itu susah banget untuk didapat. And I'm also still learning to how the millennials tuh semuanya the way they think, the way they act, and the way they make decisions. And I think like right now I'm still learning of how to like handle them. And what I see is two things. First thing is that because I'm trying to like apply what my dad's company, which is like he is already have been running the company for over 35 years, and loyalty is really something that the company holds on, because even the suppliers is like they've been partnering up for 35 years, and I'm trying to apply that to my company right now. It's the way you like, it's the way you treat them, it's the way how you actually give them attention, feel the sense of belonging. It's first thing. It's like you have to, as simple as like just checking up on them, like probably like few days, yeah, just check up on them and like talk casually with them. And one more thing is that because like right now, if you want to access information, the accessibility of information is like everywhere. You just Google anything, and like I think like they really want to learn something every day. So you yourself, us as the leaders, we have to teach them something new every day, something like that. So it's like because I feel like in every problem, of course there's solution in every problem. So it's back to us, we have to question ourselves. Like what can we give more to them to make them stay?
I think it's very interesting. Just to touch back on Hadi's point, and Michael. I think it's a very interesting idea to give them more flexibility. I think it gives them more freedom for them to be more creative, to be more responsible by making more decisions, basically. Nah ini agak bertolak belakang dengan how we were sort of, let's say, not early millennials and the generation before. Kita di trainnya differently. A company should be structured on one direction. The boss says everything, and then everyone has to obey, and then that's it. Tapi kalau sekarang kan the workforce doesn't want to work that way. Could it be like, I'm sensing like, could it be that we need to restructure the whole way of how we manage our companies to be a bit more democratic? Kayak people, it's less hierarchy wise-nya it's less, and then everybody has the same power atau authority. Like some architectural company is practicing these type of models, and it creates a bigger sense of belonging because they are part of it. They have the same voice as the boss, as the founder, as the principal. Too much, in regions when you give them too much freedom, it doesn't work. It doesn't work as well. So what do you guys think?
Okay, so personally, I agree with that. I agree with having more of a democratic, opinion. Like have other people have a say. Everybody on your company to have a say, so that they feel like they belong, they make a change, and all that kind of stuff. I completely agree with that. But my thing is that I get it that they're actually smarter, they're more exposed to information and all that kind of stuff. But they lack experience, especially the new guys. Right? The new guys coming out of college, they lack experience as much. They all have this idea in their head, they all have this vision in their head that, okay, if I do this, then this is what's gonna happen. When it doesn't necessarily happen that way, So, I don't know, I'm actually questioning this about our thing as well. Is it like, how do we actually make them listen, but don't not take out their freedom, basically. Make them feel like they're a part of it, but teach them like, okay, if you do this is what's gonna happen, but make them listen. At the point where it's not costing your company anything. Because if they do make a mistake because of their lack of experience, and us not teaching them that this is what you do to make this right, then
Eric.
Ini
Whoa, where did this come from?
kalau Democratic sebenarnya dari dulu gue tahun 2005 back in 2005 my studio memang nggak pernah ada hierarki sih dari dulu. Jadi I have no problem with some kind of susunan gitu karena memang kita bergerak di bidang kreatif and I don't think all the people yang kerja sama gue gitu nggak mungkin bisa di kotak-kotakin gitu sih. Jadi selalu kalau proses gue sih selalu gue bebasin mereka untuk buat apapun dulu. Nah, misalkan dapat uang kamu itu project itu mereka gue bebasin sebebas-bebasnya. Mungkin itu yang bikin mereka excited juga akhirnya gitu. Cuma part gue lebih kayak melihat itu di mata klien gitu. Oke, kalau buat lo kayak gini kayak klien nggak suka nih. Lebih play wise nya gitu. Cuma secara struktur sebenarnya dari dulu kita nggak pernah ada nggak pernah tuh ada lo harus manggil gue bapak atau apa gitu. Nggak pernah ada gitu sih. Cuma sekarang mungkin udah ada panggilan sih karena ada umurnya lumayan jauh. Apa? Ya, dari gue gitu sih. Jadi I don't believe at the organization structure tuh sebenarnya mungkin memang perlu untuk kita keluar ke di mata klien gitu ya. Kalau kita punya struktur organisasi yang seperti ini, cuma dalam prakteknya kayaknya dibuat begitu tuh agak sulit sih. Kita pernah coba sekali, cuma akhirnya nggak work gitu. Akhirnya kita bikin yang seperti lebih family, lebih seperti discussion group gitu loh, lebih jajar semuanya, gitu sih.
Sorry guys, I can't speak Bahasa at all. Sorry guys, excuse me. So I don't really know much about the human resource in Jakarta or Indonesia, but I do know a lot how we work in Singapore. So,
Yo.
So I'm sorry for you guys who only speak Bahasa. I totally do not understand. So I'm really sorry. But I stayed in Jakarta for a couple of years. Been in Indonesia for years as well. I noticed there's a very, very big difference from where I come from, like working in Singapore and interviewing people in Singapore, and likewise even in New York as well, and compared to Indonesia, predominantly in Jakarta. I realized one thing is there's a big cultural difference, firstly. Secondly is the pay scale here is horrible. So people, for me, I realized one thing. So most of the staff in Indonesia get paid a certain amount of money, and so the quality you get is pretty horrible. So like in Singapore, they do get a certain amount of money, which I think is pretty high. So the quality you get is, I would say it's pretty okay, it's pretty good. So they work for the money. So in Singapore, people work for the money. Likewise in Indonesia as well. But in my field, in bartending, I realized one thing. The guys that like bartending, they join for one reason. One reason is to pick up chicks. And that's what I found out. It's pretty true actually. You can go to any industry, in any of my bar industry, you can ask around. Most of the guys that join bartending, even in Indonesia as well, they're in it for the fame, they're in it for the show, they're not in it for the craftsmanship, they're not in it for the details, they're just in it because they think by joining bartending, younger generations they're in it because they feel that by being in a bar, being in a club, I can show off to the chicks, I can get chicks easily by getting them drinks, getting them drunk. So for me, it's really, really hard to get people that are in it for the passion, firstly, and people who just want to grow and be loyal to you in your company. So, yeah.
So it makes it even more tougher because now we need to hire chicks first in order to find better staff.
We don't just grow by one staff or two staff. We grow by the 20s, the 30s, the 40s.
And as much as I'd like to do as much self-reflection as I could, I can't self-reflect myself, with 40 people. You know what I mean? I would just not stop talking to them. You know what I mean? If I was gonna check up on each person, I would be sitting behind my desk just talking to people all day. Oh, how are you doing today? Are you okay? So this, in my experience, it's like, I think it's great to obviously, nurture talent. I call it nurturing, right? But at the same time, I find that the generation that's coming up, or the generation that's already here, entering the workforce and has entered the workforce for the past few years, you just after a while you just need to man up, like you need to be prepared for life, and life isn't about being nurtured throughout your adulthood, really, you know what I mean? That's got to stop, and at one point, because you yourself are going to be a leader one day, whether it's at your workplace, whether it's at your home, whether it's wherever, and you've got to take care of yourself. And taking care of yourself means growing up, and going through the system and grinding through the system. And nothing teaches that better than experience, not even school. Experience is like going through it, learning from your mistakes, learning from other people's mistakes, so you can be better and not make more mistakes or the same mistakes. I think it's as simple as that. So our case, let's say when I had like 1 or 2 cafes, my mentality was where what most of it is being discussed then, but now, yeah, I was like, how are you doing? Having a good day? So, it becomes more and more difficult with more and more staff, and it becomes more and more challenging. And agree, hiring policies need to change, right? I agree that we need to be able to still cater to their needs in a way, but you still need to structure it, because at one point, especially whatever size team you have, you always have a favorite or favorites, right? No matter where you are, there's somebody that, oh, this person I can count on. Ngomongnya tuh kayak anak emas gitu. Oh, ini anaknya si Yoshi, ini anaknya si Yanto. Ada yang lebih dekat. Naturally itu emang kayak gitu juga gitu. But, how do we make it fair across the board? Because the more staff you have, the more they will talk about, oh, this guy gets paid more than me, this guy, is getting a promotion faster than me, and then you have this problem of inequality, which is a disease that can be company-wide, from the top to the bottom. So I think as companies evolve and change and mature, a lot of your HR has to do that too, and I feel that maybe through a better hiring process or a better structure, you're able to nurture the new generation in a way that is more balanced in a way. Yes, we recognize your value, we recognize what you do, we recognize your talent as well, but at the same time, it's a business, and a business, in order for me to pay you, we need to go a certain way, and we need to be able to make money, right? Or else it's just like, if it's a democracy, then look at Indonesia, right? Not everybody does it the same way, or the right way, or the correct way. Everything has a certain special condition.
I mean, it's quite true. Look at this. 5 years, let's say 8 years ago, we wouldn't be having this type of discussion. 10 years ago, being a graphic designer was like, what's that? Especially here. I'm not talking about abroad. I'm talking about Indonesia. Now, if you walk into a room and say, I'm a designer, oh, wow, people want to know more. You know what I mean? But So looking at that point of view, I mean, I agree 100%. It's all about structure, right? I do agree, you gotta cater to their needs. And I do agree with you as well when you spoke about check on your squad, you know? We always do that. We can tell when our squad's going left turn or if somebody's having a hard day or, you know, you can tell. And we always like, yo, stop what you're doing. What's wrong? Talk about it. You need a break. You want to go out. You want to go on a holiday. We always do that. And I mean, one thing that we talk about is, I mean, even we work our asses off, and there's a point where he will always know when I'm burnt out, and he will say, Thomas, get the fuck out of this city. You know what I mean? He literally put me on a plane and just send me out, you know? And no, but it's a thing. You gotta do that. And we don't only do that for ourselves, we do it for our squad as well. Like, we tell our squad, like, we have an unlimited vacation policy. You go on any fucking holiday you want, but as long as you get the job done from wherever you are, you're still on vacation, you know? I mean, a few months ago, Jessica was on the beach, and she was getting some shit done. That's a badass way of working, you know what I mean? But like, that's the type of like culture that we want to infuse into the way we work. I don't know about you guys do it, you might have other strategies, but for us, this is something that works, you know what I mean? So yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, structure is there, but you gotta also respect the whole concept. Like, if you just do whatever, then you go left turn, and when shit hits the fan, you would have nothing to support yourself. So there's always, I think structure is key. And this is coming from people that, like, you know, he worked in a corporate environment, and I was like freelancing all the way. So we are bound to hit. When we started, right, when we first started and there was public holidays, for me and him, it's like whatever, we'll just go to a cafe and work. But now when you have people working like with you, and there's a public holiday, it's like, oh shit, we have to give them a holiday. You know what I mean? We can't just like get the job done or whatever. Like, now you have to start caring about these type of things. Now you gotta start caring about, you know, Ramadan and, you know, like, oh, it's that one day of the week, we have to do a group, you know, meeting and, you know, like things like this, like structure is important, you know? And we're constantly figuring it out as we go. But this is interesting. Like, I like hearing from what Eric said and what Adi said and what you said. Like, it makes only us go back to the office on Monday and be like, maybe we need to change a few things on how we operate, because we're constantly figuring it out, you know, constantly. And there's no manual. Nobody's ever thrown us the manual. It's like, this is how you start a clothing line, and this is how you start a fucking design agency. We eat shit every fucking day, you know? And I think this is what is missing. A lot of the people and a lot of the younger generation, they don't get to eat shit. They just see pretty things on Instagram, and they like it, and they just want to be that. But you gotta eat shit before you can be able to actually become the shit, you know? So, I don't know. That's just from my point of view. I'm pretty sure Georgie has the same point of view too.
So I was just thinking about this. So we were talking about how do we cater to the new millennials and all that kind of stuff, right? But you know, think about it. At the end of the day, we were just posting, let's say we're posting or we're, you know, putting it in the ad and all that kind of stuff. We are hiring, right? And they're the ones who are actually applying. Why should we cater to them as much like that? Why should we cater to them like that as much? Because they're the one applying. They know what we are. They know what we do. They like our work, right? And we do try to make it as comfortable for them so that they will stay with us and work with us and respect us and all that kind of stuff. But that's my thought. Is just like, why should we be thinking this much just to cater to these people when we were working? I don't know if any of you guys worked with somebody else before. When we were working with somebody else before, we have to adapt to the culture of the company. What's the thought?
So I went to this summit a few months ago. It's called Learning, I think, Education and Learning Innovation Summit or something like that. And apparently, after e-commerce and information disruption, the next thing would be on education. The pre-impact that we're sort of rasakan right now is employment. So back in the days, people hire through grades,
the grading system was basically designed in order for people to hire structurally. But nowadays, since there's a lot of disruption in how companies work, and through technology, people can access a lot of information. They can acquire skills much faster and much easier than ever before. So this whole grading doesn't make sense. It's not relevant anymore. So people now, companies, I've heard from industry experts, companies as big as BMW, automotive companies, technology companies, they don't hire based on grades anymore. They hire based on attitude. So they would pick somebody who has backpacked in Europe for 3 months rather than somebody whose GPA is, I don't know, 3.8, 4.0, whatever. Because they would think people who has backpacked, people who has traveled by himself for 3 months with no money can adapt better in different cultures. They can learn how to survive. They can learn how to solve problems. And they can learn to maximize the experience within their own limitations. I'm just wondering. I mean, we come from different backgrounds. Is there any tips or tricks or things that you're baru-baru ini gitu maksudnya after finding difficulties on hiring? Is there any things that you really actually wanted to look whenever you're hiring somebody? Just to share.
We always ask them funny questions, just to see if they have a sense of humor. Because I don't know, sometimes in the office we like to keep it super lightweight. We're a creative company. Our office table is like this. It's a long table. Everybody says or has an opinion, or whatever. So for us, it's really on the first thing we look at is this guy easygoing, or is she easygoing, And I think a sense of humor is obviously very key, but the sense of, we always try to, give them a scenario of, put them in a tough scenario and see how do they get out of it. I think that's one of the most, because we hate it when, there's a crisis, and then they don't think smart on how to adapt to the crisis or get out of the situation. When there's a solution, but you know what I mean? So we always try to find these type of qualities in a person. We always ask okay, so what happens if you have this sort of scenario? How do you get out of it? Just ask them put yourself in that scenario. And we ask them that because we've been in those scenarios and then we figured it out, and this is how we reflect back and forth. I know we don't really have a way of hiring. It's there's a vibe, there's a spark that you can get. OG would always say, the OG will respect the OG. It's like a thing. You can spot it from a mile away, right? So you can sense that in your meetings and whatnot. But those are hard to find for sure.
Sorry, just got something to share, just a little bit. I think the past 3.5 years that I'm back in Jakarta now, running the restaurant business, what I find the most is the people who are shy. Normally, when we have an interview, they are the one that are the most desperate, very very desperate. I have 4 people now that they all come up to me, almost 4 of them, basically came from such a sad background family, very on the bottom, the bottom, last rock, whatever they can name it. Parents died and he lost a job. So those people, to be honest, now when looking back, and they're all one of them actually my sous chef, they're the most that are willing to work the best. So when I first opened Benedict, I tried to get all the the fancy people, the people who graduate from the best school in the world or whatever. So I came from graduate from CIA, which is one of they said the Harvard cooking school. So when I graduated, I always okay, I want to find somebody who are at least they are already udah jadi ya, jadi nggak usah mikir lagi. And at the same time, I also I didn't actually hire, but I was thrown those people, this kind of people, the desperate people. So when I talk to them, what can you do? I said, I can't do anything. Gue dulu jualan bakmi di jalan apa gitu. So when both these people started, and then I give them like again, like I have this kind of apa ya, like she said to, she was bringing a good point that you talk to to your team every day, make sure what's going on and everything. I do exactly the same thing, but because I know how hard it is working in the kitchen. When I was in New York, I was started as a dishwasher because everybody started as a dishwasher. Even you graduated from the prestigious school of CIA, you get thrown there. So I always like tell them that, listen, I know what you guys are gonna go through. So I will purposely put these two people together in the same time. So these people who like graduate from, just name one in school, like LCB or whatever, and the people who are desperate, funny enough, in the next 6 months, the people who don't have any background, but like their brain absorb like a sponge. They always wanted to work. They're always there. They always stay up like later. So nowadays, so when I look at my recruiting process, when I talk to people, to my HR, I just told them that, listen, for the creative part, I need somebody who are very talented. But when it comes to like a day-to-day operation, again, I just find the people who are like, I would not put it as desperate, but I just like normal people, and we train them and we try to evolve them so hopefully they become better. And to be honest, I think the last 1 year now, Benedict, even the Benedict that I have in here, also I have a few restaurants in Jogja. I believe those kind of recipe, for me it works. So I don't know, maybe it doesn't work in your restaurant. Yeah, for me it works. So this kind of thing, like training people from really the bottom part, and then you train them one by one. And I find a sense of loyalty in that kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking that as well, actually. I found that a lot of my staff that remain very loyal and also are very hardworking are actually the ones that come from struggle. They're the ones that not struggle as in they're poor or whatever. It's more about like they faced adversity. They are used to or have experienced difficulty in life and pressure, So one of my top girls right now who just skyrocketed in terms of her career, like, her dad passed away at a very young, and when she was very young, and she was the eldest out of like 3 or 4 kids, or the middle child or whatever, But basically her family and her mom had to fend for themselves, So istilahnya tuh kayak tahan banting, tahan banting. That is the quality that I feel is lacking in this new generation. No, man. It's like you get slapped and you cry instead of like giving the other person the other cheek. Resilience, getting up no matter how many times you fall. Because you're going to make mistakes, man. And us as leaders and as employers, like we don't expect our kids to be perfect. We're not going to make mistakes. That's why we're here. We're here to guide them. We're here to teach them, to sort of grant them in the right direction, maybe in different ways, in our own each way, but they're going to make mistakes, right? I mean, if they're not going to make mistakes, then, there's no point, we would hire somebody that's obviously has the same skill level as us or more, right? I mean, we know they're here to learn and to work, but at the same time, that sense of resilience is lacking, and there's so much entitlement, And I find that after a while, okay, you fell down, I'll lift you up, right? I'll pay attention, obviously, I'll show you that I care and whatnot. But after a while, they keep falling down and they expect you to pick them up every time. That's the problem. They're not learning, they're spoon-fed, And for me, it's not only just because of this millennial culture, but it's also because of Indonesian culture. How many of your staff still live home with their parents? When you live home with your parents, you're not worried about what you're gonna eat that night. There's gonna be food on the table. There's gonna be a pillow. There's gonna be air conditioner. There's gonna be a place for you to take a shower. There's no sense of urgency. There's no sense of mandiri, independence. Because everything,
And whoever's on board with us, it's for us to make sure we can look out for those type of people no matter what happens to them. That's why we are in the business of what we are doing. So
surviving cancer was one way of how and why we have Ageless Galaxy. The motto of our brand has always been live to strive and strive to live. Since the day me and OG met, this is all we talk about, you know? We're selling t-shirts, it's fucking t-shirts, you know? But it's not about the t-shirt, it's about the mentality. It's about, I didn't know this. When I was recovering, this guy used to work for a bank, HSBC, you know? And when I was recovering, I looked like shit. I literally asked him when we met, he asked me, hey, I was like, can you like fix me? Because he was all about working out and he was a motivator. Weirdly, he would give me so much shit that we ran a marathon together, 10K, 3 months after survival of cancer. So for me, that was the drive. It was the mentality of a buddy that pushed me to get up. You know what I mean? And this is the same type of thing we do in the office with whoever joins our team. Like, this is what it's about. So, and then what? A few months later, this guy bought an apartment and he quit his job, and I was just like, yo, what the hell? And then he told us, he's like, yeah, because you guys are doing your thing, I'm gonna do my thing too. And then he started Workout Embassy. And if you talk about influence, right? Like, you should follow his gram and see. You could work out every Wednesday for free and get a toned body. Just follow Workout Embassy. You don't gotta sign up for Fitness First or whatever. Like, you know, all those mechanisms are run by corporate fuckers that just want to make money off you. They don't care about how your body looks. But this dude right here, he would tell you, dude, you're fat. You need to work out. Straight up, you know? So, like, you talk about real influencer, I think that's what a job of a real influencer should do, you know? Lay down the facts and then figure out how to find a solution to it, you know? So, coming back to that, survival, everybody needs to have that one point in their life to make them push forward. You know what I mean? And that's how the baseline for every, I mean, we go through this every day. Like, I thought cancer was the hardest part. We eat shit every fucking day. You know what I mean? There's always another problem after the other. And then the goal is, how do you stand back on your feet and be like, I passed through yesterday, and I'm good tomorrow. You know? So, yeah, survival. Everybody should think about that.
Boleh nambah? Sorry, I speak bahasa. Sorry. Jadi survival ya, berarti kan orang yang dalam kesusahan terus dia bertahan. Nah, jadi setelah mendengar tadi, jadi gue ngelihatnya generasi yang kita bilang, yang kita labeli milenial ini adalah generasi yang tidak kesusahan. Mereka tumbuh dibesarkan oleh teknologi yang tujuannya memang mempermudah. Nah, dan itu jadi ketemu kan. Jadi gimana caranya orang yang nggak kesusahan dituntut untuk loyal. Orang saya nggak susah kok gitu, ngapain saya itu poin. Terus kita bilang Indonesia. Sebenarnya Indonesia tuh luas. Yang kita bahas ini hampir semuanya tuh generasi di kota-kota besar. Nih di sini Jakarta, Surabaya. Tapi coba ke daerah. Ada yang pernah datang ke daerah, ketemu generasi usia milenial daerah yang taraf hidupnya mungkin menengah ke bawah, itu daya juang itu tinggi sekali. Tapi kita tidak punya link atau jalur ke sana. Mereka juga sama. Tadi ada 2 orang anak daerah, tapi udah pulang syukurnya. Saya mau ngomong, mereka begitu ketakutan untuk masuk ke Jakarta. Mereka nanya ke saya, gimana ya caranya masuk Jakarta? Gimana caranya ngomong aja takut. Tapi daya juangnya tinggi sekali. Alvin juga tahu. Jadi pada saat kita ngomong Indonesia, sumber daya manusia Indonesia, itu kita hanya sekelompok kecil sebenarnya. Kalau punya effort lebih, punya waktu lebih, luangkan waktu untuk keliling. Butuh biaya. Terus orangnya gampang dikontak, susah. Bahasa, bentrok budaya tadi disebutkan, susah. Boundary-nya tinggi. Tapi saya punya solusi enggak juga. Cuman ada point of view aja yang pengen disampaikan gitu. Dan potensi daerah itu kenapa nggak kalau kita punya nih bareng-bareng kita apa ya, seleksi, edukasi atau apapun lah, kita saling sendiri, independen, nggak usah bergantung dengan birokrasi atau apapun gitu. Mungkin bisa jadi solusi, tapi untuk jangka panjang ya, nggak jangka waktu sekarang. Kasih gitu aja.
Okay, so that's a very interesting point. I agree as well because for the past, I've been running my business for like 12 years, and for the past 12 years, we've been getting a lot of different kinds of talents and skills who entered our company. And to be honest, people who are from outside Jakarta, they're the one who sort of showed more resilience when it comes to pressure and everything gitu. And I think itu memang mungkin the mentality of people who perantau. Yeah. But I think it's probably worth instead of checking their CV, probably now it's worth checking on their family background when interviewing. And screw the score, the grades and everything. I think it's very interesting. It'll be more valuable. I think if we can get to know their personal background and see, obviously, the one who has faced struggle, then it naturally shows more resilience. For the time being, we're gonna have some questions and from the crowds and audience. Maybe Obed can give us a hand.
Hello. Hey everybody. So for all those that are watching out here, any of you guys want to ask a question? Seems like it's been a really heavy conversation. Okay, great. Please let them know who you are and if anybody want to direct your questions to.
I'm Desi. I'm Desi. I'm working for Biko. My boss is actually here, but he's only spoke one sentences or two. But yeah, he's a good boss, so I'm here to support him. I think the question's directed to everybody because I came here thinking that the talk is about a creative talk, but you guys seem to have a whole lot of problems with HR, and that's been the talk for the past 1.5 hours. And it is a huge problem in Indonesia. And what Nick says is actually very relevant. You know, I grew up in Singapore. I used to work there. I basically followed a system where in Singapore there's a system called the Pau Kaliao, you know. So you got to do everything basically. So, but over here, I feel like there's a lack of that. But again, I think Alvin was like addressing that. Oh, one way to better hire people would be like to not look at their CV or have a better hiring process. But maybe there's another root problem where it's actually based on our first could be the lack of hunger or drive among people in Indonesia, or it could be the education itself and the system that actually, support that kind of thinking where, oh, okay, you know, you just need to get enough to get by, or that mentality where you're pretty much working in a sweatshop like 9 to 5 and you hit the clock and you get off. So, I mean, it's interesting to come here and actually listening to all you guys, business owners, from media, creative, whatsoever, and listening to your perspective and me as a worker. It's quite refreshing because it's definitely different from what I thought. You guys seem to have the same, there's a red line pulling all of you here together, but what's the real solution? Could be empowering the people, could be, I don't know, a better HR solution, because that's what I feel in Indonesia is that you have a lot of recruiters. You guys keep talking about millennials and the problems, but millennials are actually very, the degree is really wide. I mean, I think a lot of you guys are millennials. Millennials are people born from 85 onwards. My boss is a millennial, from 85 onwards to 90, although he hates millennials. He's just like, oh, it's so hard to work with millennials, isn't that, you know. But I'm millennials, and I come from struggle, and I do believe that actually propels me to want to work harder, sure. But also there's a lot of varying factors. First could be relationship with the working culture, with the managers, and that's actually a lot of, I think my colleagues are experiencing, not in Biko per se, I mean everywhere. You know, I hear my friends from other companies talking like, oh, they're not actually connecting with their supervisors and this and that. I mean, I hear all the problems, but do you guys really hear what's going on under because like all I hear is just that. I'm sorry if it just seems like I am, going against. But I just 1.5 hours. I'm just listening to oh yeah, it's here, this and that, But I don't really think you guys are just listening to reply, but I just really listening to listen. I think that's a different thing, and I think Hadi brought a very good point that okay, millennials need this and that, like flexibilities in this, and of course that kind of benefits do not extend to everybody because not everybody can be treated the same. Not everybody can get their shit done and not actually pose a problem to the next person because we're actually working collaboratively. But what I'm realizing that in Indonesia, are we even ready for that kind of work environment where everybody kind of like take into account or have actually a very good work ethic, which I find really lacking in Indonesia. Not only on my colleagues level or anything, even supervisory level. Like there's a lot of things where people come with privilege, they come in through networks. A lot of them, I don't know if they even go through proper interview first. If they even know how to do their own CV or this and that. So I think yes, full-trained workforce, a more stringent workforce is really important. So yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm just blabbering here. Like I have to joke to all. So yeah.
So I guess if I could, summarize your question because there's a whole lot. So first was, is there a real solution, right, to maybe all of the, comments that you guys brought up, right? Two, should there be some sort of environment, an alternative environment, or maybe work ethic? And I'm sorry, what was the last one? It was like about, are you listening? Are you really hearing out the issues among the people that work for you? Or are you guys just, thinking that you're listening? Is that what? Listening to reply. Okay, so whoever wants to take that question first, I guess.
So maybe I can give you my 2 cents. This is actually a very complex subject, and I don't think there isn't a single concrete solution that everyone can copy, and then and it works for everyone. There's 2 sides of the same problem as well. Us, people from the older generation who runs the company, and then from the employees' perspective. I think the challenge is basically trying to cater what the employees want, but at the same time to make the business run efficiently. And from my personal experience, I've been experimenting on how to restructure and modify the company structure as well to make everything work and try to adapt different cultures, because I had a bit of an experience working in Europe and where everybody respects each other and they work professionally. I'm responsible for my work and then I need to commit and I shall deliver. Kalau di Indonesia, when you want to implement those type of concepts, it really depends on the attitude of the personal individuals. The first batch might work, the second batch might destroy the whole company. And this is something that is I don't think there's a formula to it. And as much of a designer I am, it's a problem that I still cannot solve. And I think if I read on the news and everything, it's a problem that a lot of companies, small and big, are suffering. And it's something that has to do with education as well. And that's why one of the biggest problems that's going to, they said, kan sekarang department store are closing down. The next one will be universities and schools. Karena the education that they're teaching itu is no longer relevant with how the industry works. Jadi vocational education is going to be the next big thing, they say, or mobile-based education. Tapi jadi these millennials, they came from let's say the previous
the previous phase of education. Tapi terus udah gitu it's being bombarded with easy access technology of information. Tapi terus udah gitu industrinya belum benar-benar adaptable with what you're basically being nurtured by. I think that's the biggest challenge. And especially in Indonesia, it's apa namanya, the nature of the culture itself is not very professional. It's very personal. People are very thin-skinned. Dikritik sakit hati, dipuji langsung jadi malas kerjanya, dinaikin gajinya malah belum tentu perform. You know, it's all those sensitive issues. And I don't even think God knows how to solve this problem. So I'm gonna pass it next.
I think if I may add to that, if I may counter Curcol, you mentioned education. I think education plays a very big role in how we function because I went to the same junior high school with this guy, your boss. I went to the same high school with OG, and the education system here. If you want to better understand the work culture here, the education system here is very passive. You sit in the classroom, and then the teacher would come in, bring all the teaching material, get the guy with the best handwriting to copy it on the board, and have everybody else copy it on their notes. And then all of a sudden, it's exam. So with that kind of education system, you're not gonna get a lot of empowered people. So in your workforce, if I believe, how do I call you here? Mikhail, yeah? I believe Mikhail and Aston, they have to deal with this quite a lot, trying to hire people at the lower level. Because in my experience, I've had instances where I'm interviewing someone and I ask him, what do you want to work with me? Because my contract expires next month. How do you deal with that? So from the get-go, from the interview, his reasoning to try to find another job is because his current one is expiring, not because he has a vision or he has cita-cita or dreams, right? These are just guys trying to get by. I don't know, I think as we all grow, we're gonna face a lot more of this. I'm actually curious to hear your experience on this, if you don't mind. About dealing with a lot of people.
So I would say my company is quite unique. We started in 2010 with like 14 people. And now we have, I think it's around 500 to 600 people at some point. And then it's going to be, by the end of the year, I would say probably like 700 people. So for me, I have experience coming from, I was starting from zero. So dealing with a very small team that I think really effective up until at this point I don't really have any time to cater what you need. I mean, like it doesn't apply to me anymore. So at this point, I mean, I have already, I would say it's sort of like surrender to, it's easy to make them like me, but it ain't easy, it's really hard to make them like each other. You know? So, yeah. I mean, at this point, I sort of like filtering which problem that I think I should jump in, and then if it's, for me, it's like, oh, it's like something really small or something that is personal, I just leave it up to them. But yeah, overall, I mean, I'm still trying to find the formula how to make my people, my staff, or the people that work in my company feel satisfied or feel happy, because that is the most important aspect on how to running the business in here. And then actually I want to raise a question with that. How do we appreciate all these people that are dealing, that has been loyal to us, that has been working really good, other than giving the money? Because I don't think money is the solution of all, since it is not like, well, I'll give you some money and then another year we'll ask for some more. So I think we need to find something other than money. Anybody?
Oke, mungkin sharing aja ya. Kalau di gue tuh lebih money. I don't know, like from my experience, like all the millennials workers yang kerja sama gue gitu, money is not number one lagi gitu. It's like lebih kayak recognition, like pengakuan, kira-kira pengakuan. Oke, gue udah accomplish ini nih, gue dapat pengakuan apa gitu. And for me, finding the ideal staff, our member gitu lebih ke chemistry sebenarnya. So chemistry, which mean it doesn't have to be like semuanya rockstar gitu di tempat gue. Jadi harus ada yang bisa fit in juga, bisa melengkapi. Nggak harus semuanya jadi Excel terus. Karena ya gitulah. Harus bisa trying to fit in, trying to solve the problem together gitu. So I think recognition and apa kayak public when they achieve something, you need to like apa ya kayak kasih award ya kayak gitu. So that's what I learned belakangan ini.
All right, may we have only time for one more question. Anybody wants to throw in opinions, comments, questions? Going once? Oh. Let us know your name and who do you want to direct your question?
Hi, good evening everybody. My name is Sam. I'm friends of Claudia. I'm here to support her. So it's a very interesting discussion you guys have over here, and I feel a little bit inspired by all of your stories because all of you here are founders, and like basically you become the founders because you chase your dreams. So my question is, I'm sure some of you sitting in that table, you come from a pretty good family because you get your education overseas, and you come back here, you build your own brands. But I mean, how do you juggle between the responsibility you have towards your family? I mean, I'm sure some of your family has family business, or you're having a brand, or some other things, and you have to do your responsibility as the next generation. And on the other hand, you have your dreams to chase, which might be very different from what your parents have. So, any advice on that? And I just want to say, it hit me when he mentioned that he was a cancer survivor, because I think maybe some of us have to put a deadline on our own so that we will know what to do, and then we have to react faster. Because for me myself, I already know what I want to do, but I keep procrastinating it and saying, okay, maybe next year, maybe now I'll just follow my family and then just stay in the company. Maybe next year I'll start my own, or maybe on the weekends. But I read a piece of article last week. It says like there's this motivator who talks to a crowd, and then he asks, how many of you here are leaving for the weekends, for Saturday and Sunday? And almost all of them are raise up their hands. So he told them, basically you're wasting 70% of your life away, because you have Monday to Friday where it should be most productive, and you're just only leaving for the weekends. So it hit me because I used to think I need a 9-to-5 job. I need to get money to pay for my hobby, to pay for my dream. I might have a coffee shop, and then I run it on the Saturday and Sunday. But on Monday to Friday, I might be selling insurance, I might be selling property, I might be doing finance. But does that make your dream grow? Because you only have 2 days of the week to build your dream. Or the rest, you have Monday to Friday, and you're just slaving away and hoping for the weekend to come so that you can live your life. So thank you so much for tonight, and back to my question. Any piece of advice, how do you juggle between the responsibility of fulfilling your responsibility as a next generation, second generation to your family, and then chasing your dreams? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody would like to pick that up?
Hello.
Okay, so I think when you're talking about chasing your dreams and all that kind of stuff, and actually doing this thing for your parents and whatnot, I think you got to figure out which one is more important for you, right? Because I don't think we're doing this for our parents. I think we're all doing this because we love to do it, you know. So we want to do all of this because we believe in what we do, and that's why we do it. And this is where we are right now, right? So I think that's one that you got to figure out. And two is that if you think like you have your responsibilities, your parents and whatnot, and then how do you juggle and all that kind of stuff? See, how I see, you just got to work harder. That's what it is. Because let me share my story. So before me and Thomas started Asia's Galaxy, I was actually working in Aksara. You know that bookshop? Yeah, that place. And now it's closed down, right? So I was working there. We did not have an office. My office was in Kemang, and there's a cafe up top. So every day for like a year, Thomas would come to the cafe. I will still be working at Aksara, but during my lunch break and like after my let's say after office hours around 6 or 7 like that, I come up and I just finish my job with him, starting Ageless Galaxy, you know. And we work until like what, 12? Yeah. Yeah, sometimes till 2 in the morning and all that kind of stuff just to make this work, right? So that's my drive. I have my responsibilities because I get what you mean by the financial stability and all that kind of stuff. But that was also what I was afraid of. That's why I did not leave my job, by the way, right? So I did that for like a year up until we decided that we have enough money to actually have an office. That's when we started doing it. So my advice coming from me, I would just say work harder, dedicate your time more, and work smarter. That's it.
So, just adding to Georgie, if you're talking about drive, and I know some kids are privileged and they get to run, family businesses and whatnot, but just FYI, when I survived cancer, yes, my dad spotted the bill, but he gave me the bill. And he said, now you're okay, you owe me this. So, I looked at that bill and I was like, fuck, I better get my shit together, like soon. You know what I mean? And whatever we're doing over here is basically for if shit hits the fan and I get another situation where I got to go through that all over again and my parents are not around, I know that I followed my dreams, I made money out of it, and it took care of me and it took care of everybody around me. So that's my drive right there, every day. So those 2 a.m. meetings that we had, like for Georgie, it was his 9 to 5 with Aksara, and it was his 5 to 2 for Ageless. But while he was doing that, I had to sit from my 9 to 5 to 2, it was all Ageless all the way. So you know what I mean? I had to prove to him that, yo, we can do this. This can become something. You know what I mean? And we had no money for the brand. We had no investors or whatever. It was just a dream. We were talking about a space-inspired clothing brand. You know, who's going to give you money for that, right? So we had to figure out a way, and there was no investor at the time. We noticed I had a skill of design, he had the skill of business. We put our heads together, and we're like, all right, other people have businesses, they need to look good. Let's help them out. Made money from that, put it into the brand, recycle. Till today, Ageless Galaxy is a clothing line. We haven't taken any money from it yet. 5 years down the line, we haven't taken a dime out of the brand. What's funding us is the service that we provide for design. We like it because we like helping other businesses and hearing about their problems. You know what I mean? I mean, at the end of the day, it's about the drive, you know? So if you are procrastinating, look, I always find a way when I'm lazy and I procrastinate, I still look at design blogs. Because I'm finding inspiration, but I'm still wasting my time, but I'm still in the tier of what I like doing. You know, you can ask my girl. I'm always looking at Instagram and like, babe, check this out. What do you think about this? But I'm not working. I'm just procrastinating. You know what I mean? And second of all, last of all, I think you need to surround yourself with people that motivate you. I have friends like Ricky. I have friends like Adit. I have a partner like OG, Batara. You know what I mean? Like, these are the type, if you talk to any of my friends, all of them have a drive to do something or execute something, or it's weird. When you surround yourself by people like that, it makes you question yourself all the time. You wake up, be like, fuck, my friends are doing so much better than me. Like, dude, I'm jealous of. He owns the best cheesecake, company in Jakarta, I mean, but I love that. I love that he has that because I get to ask him for a free cake from once in a while. But because of that, like, you know, you see the drive. We run two different businesses, you know? But at the end of the day, like, I look at this. We're the same people in different departments. We have the same mentality. You know what I mean? I think you need that. I think you need to find that type of, if your friend or you came out to support, I think that's your first step into knowing that, oh wow, my friend's doing this talk. Maybe the next round of talk, you'll be talking over there. You know what I mean? You'll be giving your opinions. You'll be telling the other guy who's lazy and tell him to get his shit together. You know? So, I mean, that's pretty much for me. It's about the drive. It's like you find your objective, you find a way to strategize, and execute. That's all it's all about.
That satisfy your question, though? No? Okay. Does that satisfy your question? Hello? Alright. Okay. Does that answer your question? Cool.
All right, I guess that's it. That wraps up for our fourth long table discussion. Thank you everyone for